Hey, what's up? I thought I'd have a little hangar talk because I sometimes get asked about the type of survival gear that I carry with me in the airplane when I'm flying in the backcountry. So I thought I'd do a quick little video and show you some of the stuff that I take with me when I'm flying in remote areas. And of course, the gear that I bring depends on the time of year that I'm going, of course, temperature and so on, and also where I'm going. So anyway, I'm going to go through some of the stuff that I typically take with me. And, you know, those of you that might be hardcore backcountry hikers or canoeists are going to laugh at some of the stuff that I bring. Because you could never bring this kind of stuff if you're on foot and, you know, having to carry everything. But when you're flying in an airplane that has 1,000 pounds of useful load, you know, there's lots of room to put safety gear, and so why not have it with you? So for me, the 5 most important things that I have with me are stuff to keep me warm, stuff to keep me dry, some food and water, emergency medical stuff, and the ability to communicate. Whenever I'm flying, I have this Bluetooth headset that is a helmet. And why do I wear a helmet when I'm flying? Well, mainly because there's lots of stuff that you could hit your head on if things go really bad. This is a helmet that you can get at, I think it's Flying Cowboy. I'll try and put a link to the website, but it's a great helmet, has Bose Bluetooth built into it. So, first thing is medical kit. So, of course, every airplane has to have a first aid kit. So, I've got a good medical kit. But the problem with many medical kits is they don't have really good stuff for gaping open wounds. So I also take with me a wound closure kit, and you can just get these on Amazon. But they're fantastic if you have a major wound that you have to close to stop bleeding. You want to have a wound closure kit with you. So then I also have my basic survival gear kit that I take with me, you know, any time of year. So I've got an axe. Just have a look in here and see what I have. So I have an emergency shelter. So this is just a tarp that I have sewn up. It has ropes and cords built into it. So I can string this between a couple of trees and have shelter to get out of rain and so on. Of course, good old toilet paper. I have obviously means of making fire. I have waterproof matches and a lighter. But if you're wet and cold, you want to get warm really quick. So I also take with me a butane torch because I can get a fire going extremely quickly. And I can heat stuff up with this if I want to, but it'll get a fire going much quicker than matches and a lighter would ever do. Of course, I've got extra rope. I've got some of these twisty ties. I've got some fire starting little pieces here. Duct tape. Electrical tape, glow sticks, and of course I always carry a flare gun with flares. So that's my basic survival bag. So a couple other things that I take. I've always got ropes in the airplane. When flying in remote areas in Canada anyway, there's no roads, there's no farmers' fields. You typically are going to have forest or water. And on a float plane, if you have a forced landing, you have an engine failure you have to put down, if there's water, you know, great, no problem. But more than likely, you're going to be doing a forced landing in the treetops. And they say, although I've never had to do this, but they say the most dangerous thing after you have completed your forced landing is not the forced landing, it's climbing out of the tree when you're done. So I have ropes with me. So I've got a good heavy high quality rope, a 50 footer, And what would I do with this? I would probably try and secure the airplane in the tree before I climb down, because I wouldn't want the airplane to fall on me as I'm climbing down. So I try and get some rope around the airplane and the tree. In the event that the airplane slipped and started to fall, it's not going to fall on me. And then I have a 100-foot rope that I can use to actually climb down the tree to get to the ground. So, ropes. Bright stuff to wear so that you can be seen. So, you know, just typically a hunting vest and a bright hat so that you can be seen. I always have a couple of days worth of water with me. You know, bring some canned food. Bring some trail mix, some nuts, some chocolate bars, you know, whatever you can, but something to eat with. I always have a very good quality knife with me. I can open a can very easily with a really good knife. A headlamp. Always have a headlamp with me. And a good old-fashioned compass. Sunscreen, a whistle, extra glasses, sunglasses. And I always bring, particularly when I'm flying in colder weather, which is what I was doing a week ago when I went up to retrieve a memory card at one of our remote lakes that we go fishing at. I have a -40 sleeping bag, and I have an extra set of clothing and socks in a waterproof bag here, so that if it gets wet, the stuff inside isn't going to get wet. The pack sack, because if you got a hike and you want to have to carry some stuff with you, like your first aid kit, food and water and so on, you need something to carry your stuff. And this time of year, it's almost November now, I wear a heated vest, and I bring enough batteries to last for a couple of days with this heated vest. One of the most important pieces of equipment that I take with me is my Garmin InReach Mini 2 satellite communicator. So this connects to my phone with Bluetooth, and so basically I can communicate by text via satellite. And I know now that many cell phone services have satellite connectivity, but they're not at the point yet where you can trust them. We've had people come on our fishing trips and try to communicate with their cell phones on Rogers, for example, and you know, the number of satellites they have available to them is nowhere near what Garmin has available in their system. So you're going to get connectivity a lot better with a proper Garmin satellite communicator than you are with a cell phone. And I mentioned one of the most important things is to be able to communicate. So this Garmin InReach, the battery will last for about 7 days, which is fantastic. But if you want to text with this little thing, it's a little awkward. So when it's connected to your phone, it's easy to send messages, but your phone battery isn't going to last that long. So I take with me an auxiliary charger so I can charge my phone or anything else I want to charge. So this thing's, you know, in the airplane, it weighs about 5 pounds. It's great for charging a phone. So I could keep my phone charged for a week if I had to. Of course, I always take extra gloves, particularly in the colder weather, and a good warm parka coat, like a down-filled coat. And I typically bring a little waterproof pouch, although, you know, my phone's waterproof, the Garmin's waterproof, just in case you want to keep some stuff dry. And you're going to laugh at this one, but I bring an electric chainsaw, because if I need to make a fire and I'm going to be spending the night, I want to have lots of firewood for that. And, you know, chopping with an axe is great, but this makes life a lot easier. And again, last week where I was, the nighttime temperature would get down to about -6 Celsius, so that's about 20 or 21 Fahrenheit. That's a little chilly, so you'd need a good fire if you're spending the night or a couple of nights. And of course, different times of year I would have different stuff. So, you know, this is the stuff I would take typically in the summer. I wouldn't have the real warm stuff necessarily in the summer. I would have, in the summer, I would have bug spray with me. You know, in the fall and early spring, the bugs aren't bad, but you know, late spring and into summer, the bugs are horrible. So I would have bug spray with me. This time of year, I wouldn't bring it. But winter flying is a whole different ballgame. So when this thing's on skis and I'm flying in remote areas, I'll have all of this stuff with me. But then the other things that I would take with me are, you know, a snow shovel in case I get stuck, you know, on a lake on the ice in slush and I need to do some shoveling to get unstuck. And you're going to laugh at this one, but one of the worst nightmares when ski flying on frozen lakes is, what would you do if you landed on a lake and you broke through the ice? Because if you fall through the ice, your wings are now down on the ice, or one wing's down on the ice, and you're going to have trouble getting the doors open. And that would be just an awful thing to encounter. So whenever I'm flying in remote areas on skis in the winter and going to be landing on lakes, which is most of the winter flying that I'm doing, I bring this. So what would I do with this? So I've got a couple of steel tubes above my panel that would obstruct me from trying to climb out through the windshield if I had to. So I would be cutting a steel tube and then cutting the acrylic windshield. So worst case scenario, I've fallen through the ice and both wings are down on the ice and I can't get the doors open. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna climb out here. And so what I'm gonna have to do is cut one of these bars and then cut the acrylic, and I'd be able to get out of the airplane. So if any of you have stuff that you would typically bring that I haven't thought of, please feel free to leave me a note in the comments, because it's always good to get other people's opinions. And also, if you think there's something absolutely ridiculous that I'm bringing, leave me a comment as well and let me know your thoughts. So I hope this has been helpful, and happy flying.